Okay, so let's unpack this. What if I told you there's a single crop, often kind of overlooked, that's absolutely crucial for the dairy in your latte and, well, the beef on your plate?
Hmm.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the fascinating world of the alfalfa hay market.
Right. And our mission for this deep dive is really to go through a pretty comprehensive analysis we found from cognitive market research. It looks at the trends, future opportunities, the whole picture.
Okay.
We'll be pulling out the core insights to show you exactly why this humble plant is such a powerhouse in global agriculture. We're talking everything from its, well, staggering market size to the cutting-edge tech shaping its future.
And even some surprising challenges it faces, I gather.
Exactly. And some surprising challenges, too.
So by the end of this, you'll discover how this one sort of simple-seeming crop impacts everything from animal nutrition to the quality of the food you eat, and even how global trade deals can surprisingly play a role.
Hmm.
Get ready for some hopefully genuine aha moments about a plant you probably haven't thought much about before.
Definitely.
So let's start with the basics then. For those of us maybe less familiar, what exactly is alfalfa hay? You describe it as like a nutrient-dense fodder crop.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It is a nutrient-dense fodder crop, essentially, feed grown specifically for livestock. Its primary use is animal feed
Fine.
for dairy and beef cattle, horses, sheep, that sort of thing. What makes it so valuable is its really high protein content, plus excellent digestibility and significant fiber.
Okay, so nutritionally packed.
Very much so. And it's also seen as, an environmentally friendly and cost-effective feed option. It's got a long shelf life, too.
Right.
And farmers specifically mix it into cow feed, not just to increase the quality, but also the amount of milk produced.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
And here's a little detail, hey, from non-genetically modified organisms, non-GMO crops, that acts as an additional growth-inducing factor for the animals.
That makes perfect sense for animal health, yeah. But, the sheer scale of this market might surprise people. We're not just talking about a few farms here, are we?
No, not at all. This is a massive global market.
Right.
You're absolutely right. To give you some context, the alfalfa hay market was worth roughly, let's see, $82.5 billion in 2024.
Wow. Okay.
And get this, it's projected to soar to nearly $140 billion by 2032. That shows a really robust compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of almost 7%.
Almost 7%. That's significant growth year on year.
It is, and this impressive growth is really driven by strong demand across various sectors.
Right.
Poultry, cattle, general livestock, and beef, too.
So that's a huge jump. What exactly is fueling all this growth? Is it simply more animals needing more food, or is there more to it?
Well, there are a few key reasons really driving this. We're definitely seeing a rising demand for high-quality animal feed,
Okay.
especially in regions with, massive livestock industries, think North America, Asia Pacific.
Right.
Beyond that, there have been significant technological developments in farming methods, a deeper understanding of animal nutrition science, and the increasing export potential of alfalfa hay itself.
And what about on the consumer side? Does that play a role?
Absolutely. There's increased public awareness of animal nutrition, sure, but also just a growing customer taste for high-quality dairy and meat products that directly translates back to demand for better feed, like alfalfa.
And sometimes international policy can throw a wrench in things or maybe open a door, right? I'm thinking about situations like, wasn't there something with China a while back?
Yeah, that's a crucial point. There was that instance where global seed companies and the U.S. government, well, they hailed Beijing's decision after some delayed licensing procedures had interrupted grain shipments.
Right, and China's a huge market.
Exactly. It really illustrates how interconnected this market is. That incident showed how even a seemingly minor bureaucratic hiccup in one major market can send ripples through the entire global supply chain.
Yeah.
It just demonstrates how interconnected and frankly vulnerable even fundamental agricultural commodities like alfalfa are to these geopolitical shifts.
A good reminder that even for a basic feed crop, global politics can be a really significant factor.
Definitely.
So, okay, with all this demand and these dynamics, where is all this alfalfa hay actually going? Which regions are the biggest consumers?
Good question. If we look at the regional market shares from 2023, North America was the leader. It accounted for approximately 35%.
35%? Wow.
Yeah, making it the largest share globally. This is largely driven by large-scale milk production and the high-quality feed requirements for dairy herds.
Because alfalfa helps with milk output.
Exactly. It specifically boosts milk output, protein content, and butter fat levels significantly, so very important for dairy.
Got it. And Europe.
Europe comes next, holding about 30% market share. What's fascinating there is the poultry sector. It forms a really interesting niche market for alfalfa hay in Europe.
Poultry. How so?
It's primarily used as a supplement, particularly in organic and free-range systems. It's valued for its natural vitamins, fiber, minerals,
Yeah.
which contributes to healthier flocks and surprisingly higher egg quality, including, that richer yolk coloring people like.
Huh. I wouldn't have guessed that connection. What about Asia Pacific?
Right. Asia Pacific holds about 25% of the market, and it's often described as a real hotbed of growth.
Why is that?
Well, China, in particular, is drastically boosting its imports. They need to meet the rising demand from their massive animal industries.
Makes sense.
And we're also seeing accelerated expansion in countries like India, Vietnam, and Indonesia. That's often tied to urbanization and higher wages, which generally leads to increased meat consumption.
So a lot of demand across these very different regions. What does the competition look like? Is it just a few giants controlling everything?
It's definitely a fiercely competitive market, but maybe not just giants. There are different levels. The really significant players in 2023 included Aldara Agriculture. They had a dominant market share, about 19%.
19%, okay.
Then Anderson Hay and Grain Co. Inc. at around 15%, and Bailey Farms International holding about 9%. These are the big names, yeah.
But what are they doing? Just selling more?
They're constantly expanding operations, increasing international offerings, forming strategic partnerships, the usual big business strategies.
Right.
But interestingly, we're also seeing emerging companies, think smaller farms, organic producers, gaining some real headway by focusing on specialized markets like that organic poultry feed in Europe, perhaps.
So there's room for smaller players too.
There seems to be, yeah. It's a dynamic environment where things like supply chain efficiency, smart pricing, and product differentiation really impact who thrives.
Okay, so it's a massive, growing, competitive market.
Right.
But it can't all be smooth sailing, can it? What are some of the major hurdles, things that could slow down this growth?
Absolutely not smooth sailing. One of the biggest concerns, maybe the biggest, is the impact of climate change. We're seeing variable weather patterns, more catastrophic events, and alfalfa is quite sensitive. Temperature, moisture, it needs things just right.
So what happens when it's too hot or too wet?
Well, increased temperatures can cause heat stress, which limits its ability to photosynthesize. Basically, the plant struggles to feed itself.
Okay.
And changed precipitation patterns. That means either severe droughts, which obviously cripple irrigation efforts, or the opposite, excessive rains leading to waterlogging and root infection.
Oh, double whammy.
Pretty much. And then you have unforeseen things like big storms or hail that can just directly damage the crops or mess up harvest schedules.
Which creates supply issues, I imagine.
Exactly. It makes it incredibly challenging for farmers to consistently meet the demand for high-quality alfalfa hay, which then affects both pricing and availability. It creates uncertainty.
And I guess water scarcity is tied into that whole climate picture too.
Directly tied in, yes. Water scarcity is another major concern. During shortages, farmers have to make really tough calls.
Like choosing which crops get the water.
Precisely. They often have to prioritize water for, critical food crops for human consumption over forage production like alfalfa.
Which means less alfalfa gets grown.
Right. It can lead to significantly lower alfalfa yields, reducing the overall amount available for animal feed. And ultimately, less alfalfa means higher costs for livestock producers and increased rivalry among them for the supply that is available.
So those are some really serious challenges. Given these environmental hurdles, what's the outlook? Are there solutions being worked on? And what about new opportunities to keep this market moving forward?
Yeah, looking ahead, there are several key developments that offer some, optimism, I'd say.
Good, like what?
We anticipate a much wider adoption of precision farming techniques.
You mean using tech like drones and sensors?
Exactly. Using tools like drones, soil sensors, GPS, all aimed at really optimizing water management and nutrient application. The goal is increased yields, but also, crucially, resource conservation.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Yes, there's also a growing trend towards organic alfalfa hay production that's largely driven by consumer demand for sustainable and organic products across the board.
Right. That organic trend is everywhere.
It is. And importantly, advances in genetic research are actively leading to the development of drought-resistant and pest-resistant alfalfa varieties,
Ah, so tackling those climate challenges head on.
directly mitigating those climate change and water resource challenges we were just talking about. That's a huge area of focus.
Okay, and now for something maybe a bit unexpected. I read that alfalfa isn't just for animals anymore.
Ha. Yeah, that's a fascinating angle, isn't it?
It really is.
What's happening there is this opportunity presented by growing consumer awareness around human nutrition. People are looking for nutrient-dense foods.
And alfalfa fits that bill.
Perfectly. It's known for being nutrient-dense but low-calorie. It fits right into that demand for natural whole foods.
So how would people eat it?
Well, its adaptability means it can be consumed as sprouts, like you see in salads sometimes.
Oh yeah, alfalfa sprouts.
Right. Or blended into salads directly, used in smoothies. It offers a practical and pretty simple way for people to increase their nutrient intake.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? I saw an example, I think it was Dow AgroSciences LLC. They branded their expanding alfalfa business as Alforex Seeds.
That's right.
It signals real investment in this space, maybe even with an eye towards human consumption down the line.
It certainly suggests they see significant future potential, absolutely. Zooming out a bit, it's clear alfalfa hay is, well, an absolutely crucial part of global agriculture, especially for the dairy and beef industries.
Yeah.
Its continued importance really hinges on how the industry tackles these environmental challenges we discussed and how much it embraces innovation.
We've really seen today how this one, humble crop is driving massive market growth, how it's having to adapt to climate shifts, and now even finding its way into our own diets. It's a true testament, I think, to how interconnected our world is, from the farm right to our tables.
Well said.
And this naturally brings up a question, maybe something for you, our listener, to consider. As global demand for both high-quality animal products and sustainable food practices keeps rising, how do you think that balance between technological innovation on one hand and environmental stewardship on the other will ultimately shape what ends up on our plates?